Hello, my name is Sarah and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing the reading habits tag. I originally saw the video on Alex from This Is Not a Booktube's channel. I'll leave a link to that video down below, as well as all of the questions. I didn't have any video ideas for this Wednesday, so this is what we're doing. The first question is, do you have a certain place at home for reading? And the answer is right here. I literally sit in bed all day. I'm currently not working because of, do I even need to say it? So I've mostly just spent my entire day in this bed. I don't really have a space to do whatever I want other than my bedroom, especially because it's summer right now and it's a billion degrees out, and I would rather sit in my room that has an AC than sit in my living room where I'm like sweating buckets. Question number 2 is a bookmark or a random piece of paper. And for the most part, I will use a bookmark. But if I'm reading like late at night and I'm too lazy to get up to go get a bookmark because I forgot to bring one in, I will do this with the dust jacket where I like mark my page with it. This isn't my favorite thing because sometimes it like will bend the dust jacket in a weird way. But until I get up to get a bookmark, that's good for now. I'll sometimes use my phone as a bookmark if I'm just putting it down for a second. But other than that, I try to use like an actual bookmark. Question number 3 is, can you just stop reading or do you have to finish a chapter or a section? I track my reading based on hours of audiobook. I will try to get as close to the hour mark as I possibly can before I stop. For example, at night when I'm done reading, if I am at, let's say I'm at 2 hours and 27 minutes, I will only count that as 2 hours. So if the next chapter is, let's say, another 20 minutes, I'll read that next chapter before going to bed. That way I can count it as 3 hours instead of just the 2. I know technically rounding up, you should stop at 30 minutes, but I try to stop at 40 minutes or closer to the hour just because I feel a little bit better about counting it for a full hour. That also depends on reading sprints. Like if I'm doing them on Discord, I will stop in the middle of a section just because people are constantly doing them, so I don't really have to wait that long to pick my book back up. If I'm watching like a live reading sprint, I will pause their stream and finish my chapter before I continue watching. Question number 4 is, do you eat or drink while reading? With eating, I won't eat a full meal while reading. Like if I'm eating my breakfast, I'll watch YouTube instead. But if I'm eating a snack, like I have like mini muffins that I like, or like cheese puff things, or like Sour Patch watermelon. I'll eat those while I read because it's really like a one-handed thing. But if I'm eating something that I need both hands for, I won't. And for drinking, I will drink no matter what. I'm really sitting in my bed most of the time and I just keep my drink on my nightstand, so there's really no risk of me spilling it on my book. And even if I'm like at the coffee shop reading, I will still like sit back and hold my book up. I don't normally read with my book flat like this. I'll just like do one of these and like drink my coffee in this hand. Question number 5 is multitasking. Do you listen to music or watch TV while reading? And I don't, because I'm listening to the audiobooks. I talked about this in my How to Read More for Lazy People video, which I'll link up above. But I will listen to audiobooks for almost every single book I read. So I don't really have the attention span to like listen to the audiobook, read my book, and watch TV at the same time, because hearing 2 things at the same time doesn't work out. It also depends on the book. So if I'm reading like an actual novel instead of like a comic or a graphic novel, I will listen to music, but never TV or movies because I can't pay attention to 2 plots at the same time. Question number 6 is one book at a time or several at once. I used to be very strict about only reading 1 book at a time, but now that I'm trying to read as much as I possibly can, sometimes I have to switch between books or I just get so bored I don't want to read. I try to keep it so I'm not prioritizing some books over the other. I'll try to switch back between the 2. Sometimes that doesn't work, but that's what I mostly strive for. Question number 7 is reading at home or everywhere. And like I already said, I'm mostly reading at home, but I will almost always have a book on me if I know I'm going to have time to read. Like if I'm driving somewhere with my mom, I probably won't bring my book unless it's like a really long drive. But if I'm going somewhere on my own or like somewhere where I think I'll have time to sit and read, I will bring a book. When I was working, my favorite place to read was either at a coffee shop or on the subway. And if worse comes to worse, I have Libby and I have Scribd and I have the Kindle app, so I can always just like get the book I'm reading on Kindle so I can still read on my phone. Question number 8 is read out loud or in your head, and I will say I exclusively read in my head. The only time I'll read out loud is if I find something funny and I want to share it with my boyfriend. I will read it out loud to him, but I'm not going to sit there and read the entire book out loud. And plus, I'm listening to the audiobook, so it's kind of like somebody's reading out loud to me. Question number 9 is, do you read ahead or skip pages? And no to skip pages. Read ahead. I've definitely been guilty of doing it. To prevent myself from doing it, I will like put my hand, like let's say I know like I'm reading and there's something like a buildup and I know that whatever's going to happen is happening on this page. I will put my hand across the page like this so that I can't like let my eyes skip ahead and read it. But sometimes it just happens and I don't mean to, and I've definitely like, I wouldn't say it ruins books for me, but it definitely is like a, oh, come on. Question number 10 is, do you break the spines or try to keep your books new? And I almost exclusively read hardcover, so it's kind of hard to break the spine because you can kind of just leave it open and it doesn't matter. But for books that I can't get in hardcover, I will try my hardest not to break them. I'm currently reading The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexandre Dumas, and this is a hefty book. It's like 1,300 pages. I'm currently made it this far, and so far I haven't broken the spine at all because I'm like being very careful, and when I'm reading it, I'm like reading it like this. Mostly because I don't like the way it looks to have broken spines on bookshelves if I bought the book new, but if it's used, I don't really care too much. And the last question is, do you write in your books? And I won't write directly in my books, but when I annotate, I will take like these big post-its, and if I have any thoughts that I want to write down, I'll write it on the post-it and stick it in the book. I do that specifically because if I ever decide to get rid of the book, it's easy. I can just take everything out. I don't really have to worry too much about there being writing in it because I know that some used bookstores won't take books that have writing. I don't know about mine, but just to make it easier on them, I will just do that instead. And that's it for today's video. If you have any other tags that you want me to do, let me know in a comment below. And if not, I'll see you next time. Bye.